Hello and welcome to Preacher to Teacher. My name is Terry, and we're so glad you decided to join us today. We're continuing this new format of asking current and old students, and then here soon we're going to start recording some teachers and getting them on the channel so that you can have a teacher perspective on some best practices. So today we have Wrayle, a recent graduate at Hilliard Middle Senior High School. Wrayle, thanks for joining us today. I'm good, good. Thank you for asking. So Wrayle has been an awesome one of my students, and I asked her to join me here today. And Wrayle, you're a cheerleader.
Yes, I am.
So talk to me about what might be some unique opportunities that you have as a cheerleader, and maybe some social challenges that are presented for cheerleaders.
I think that everybody's perspective on cheerleaders is very different. You watch the movies and you
Mm-hmm.
see, the mean girls. Those are the ones that are normally
Hmm.
cheerleaders. But as a cheerleader, we're here to represent our school, and that's a big responsibility because you have to make sure you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing at all times. Everyone's watching at all times.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure you have good grades, and you're not getting into trouble. And I think some really good opportunities I have had is going to different cheer clinics, different cheer camps, meeting new people, meeting different cheerleaders, and being able to just enjoy that. I think cheerleading has taught me more than just about cheerleading itself. It has taught me a lot of life lessons that I have been able to take with me. Um, but I think that one of the best ones is probably just knowing that no matter where you go, there's people that are watching you wherever you are. So you need to make sure that you're, doing what you're supposed to do at all times.
I've never considered a cheerleader having to deal with the social stigmas of movies.
Yeah.
That's wild.
No. A lot of people are they always, before they get to know you, everyone always looks at someone and they already put their judgment on that person before they even get to know them. And I think with cheerleaders, if you see someone and you're like, oh, she's a cheerleader, you're gonna automatically think, oh, she's dumb, or she's probably one of the most popular kids in school, but she probably doesn't have good grades, or she's really mean. And I think that was something I dealt with, is because everybody looks at you and they're like, okay, she's a cheerleader, so she's stuck up, and she's dumb, and they just automatically think that instead of getting to know you and realizing, oh, that's just what movies are based on. That's not actually, just because she's a cheerleader doesn't make her a human. Like, she still has a good personality. She's not dumb. She's smart, or she's very talented, and she might not be the most popular in the school, or she's not mean. She has a very good personality, and I think that's something that just a lot of people, they don't realize and they don't get to know before. And I think that's a big thing. Is
Awesome.
you don't get to. You need to make sure that you're not judging someone before you get to know them.
Awesome. I love it. Now I've seen on social media, I've seen you at the beach, it's like early in the morning with a bunch of other girls, and you're leading them and mentoring them. Talk to me about, how did that start? Why do you do that?
I feel like growing up, I have always had just certain people in my life, that have stuck out to me, and I'm like, wow, I want to be one of those people that younger people look at and they're like, that person really sticks out to me. She's helped me. She's always been there. She's been a good influence. And so growing up, I have always, when I've ever talked about getting a job or anything, and I've talked to my mom about it, I'm like, no matter what, I want to help others. That's the big, in whatever I do in life, whether I'm teaching, or I'm a nurse, or whatever I'm doing, whatever I decide to do in life, I want to be able to help others. So, just these opportunities have came up where I've growing up, I've been in and out of friend groups, and just trying to when you grow up and
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to find your way in life, who you want to hang out with, who are the best influences on you, who you want to be around. And I have just always tried to find the most Christ-like people, um, and take those people and become friends with them
Mm.
because they have the same, they want the same things, they have the same goals. They, for the most part, they have the same morals and values. So I became friends with all of them. Just found very Christ-like people to hang out with, and they all want to make disciples. They want to be able to just understand more about the Word of God. And so how I got into it is I was like, man, I really like, you always see people and we all look at things different ways. We all learn a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was like, I want to see what other people get from the same, like, from what I'm reading in the Bible, I want to see what they get from it too.
Mm.
See if we have the same, concept. So one day, all my friends were like, we should do a Bible study. And my friend Lydia, she was like, I think it would be really, really cool if we just all got together and did a Bible study. And I
Mm.
was like, yeah, that would be really cool. So, every different place we go to like different places. Like, we've gone to the beach, we've been at different people's houses, different people have hosted
Mm-hmm.
them. And whenever, wherever we're at, one person will lead it. And so there was one morning we went to the beach, and I was like, I don't mind, I'll do it. So, we talked about, just not letting fear hold you back,
Good.
because that's something that I have really struggled with. And I think it's very important that once you learn something and you figure it out, you want to be able to share that with someone else because they might be going through the exact same thing, and you telling them your testimony and telling them how you went through it, it can like help them in the long run.
Now, so school is fresh in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
A teacher, we have 48-minute periods, and a teacher standing up for 45 minutes and talking endlessly is not helpful. So, what are some of the things that teachers have done that have helped you remember what it was they were teaching?
I honestly think, I'm not just saying this because you're my favorite
Oh,
teacher,
okay. Well,
but
thank you.
I honestly love the slides
Okay.
because, it has different points and you
Mm-hmm.
go off of those points.
Mm-hmm.
And you do talk a lot, but you have those points that you can, like, look at, take notes off of. And I think that has helped me a lot. I also, like, I love, like, doing, like, things around the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we were doing government and you were doing, like, you have the posters and you have all
Mm-hmm.
the stuff on it, and we go around the room and write things on it. I think that's very helpful because you're being able to see your classmates what they wrote, and
Mm-hmm.
you're being able to be like, okay, so like, and you're doing the same exact thing. And I think moving around and just being able to do things like that are very good.
Awesome. So, if there was anything you would change about your high school experience, would there be anything you would change?
I think there were times in high school where you're learning different things. Or not only are you learning, your school, the things you need to know in order to graduate, but you're learning so many life lessons through it all. Meeting different people and seeing how you interact with those people and seeing how those people interact with you. Um, would I change anything? I probably wouldn't because
Okay.
it has made me into.
So one of our viewers actually was asking, "Hey, ask these folks if there's anything they would change." So thanks for that. I appreciate it. And what questions do you have for me? We try to make this a dialogue, so I'm not the only one asking. So if you could ask a question of a teacher, what would you ask?
Is there anything that like you would change, like teaching wise? Like, have you done certain things this year that next year you're like, I'm gonna change up, I'm gonna switch up?
Oh, absolutely. So we're you can't do what you don't know.
Mhm.
And so I'm learning that there are things that I'm doing that are much more effective and that there are things that I'm doing that are less effective.
Mhm.
I'm learning how to, I was taught in the very beginning that the people that do the talking are the ones that do the learning. And so I was like, well, how do I um, teach if I'm not saying anything?
Yeah.
And so learning how to create an environment like you were talking about with the display boards and the court cases or the amendments and having them around the room so that I'm not talking, but you're reading them and engaging those things. And so I'm learning more and more of those kinds of tools so that students can better learn. Um, I learned that whole display thing this year, but I learned it after the founding documents and the documents that shaped our Constitution. So absolutely, I'll add that.
Yeah.
Um,
Next year.
so absolutely, yeah.
I think another big thing that, like, going back to, like, what has, like, helped me,
Mm-hmm.
I think another big thing is, like, in any, like, classroom, the teacher is always just, they're the ones talking, and, you're learning from them, but I think it's really good to learn from your, like, classmates, too, like, hearing, because, like, you'll always ask for our feedback. You'll be like, okay, so what do y'all think? Like, and you always kind of, like, put us in the, like, you ask us questions, you make us interact with you, and I think that's a really good thing, because just being able to hear, what someone else says or what someone else is thinking, it gets you thinking, and you're like, okay, and, that helps you learn, too, or, the way someone else, like, when, Bubbles
Mm-hmm.
was like, what was he saying, the cost?
If you make it, spend it.
Yeah, if you make it, spend it, that made me remember, whenever I was taking the test, make me remember, oh, no, absolutely not.
That's
so
correct.
then I knew, that's something that's always stuck with me. And so,
Yeah.
just things
Awesome.
like that, being able to listen to what your classmates have to say and being able to, that's how you remember things.
Awesome.
But,
Love it. So teachers, a couple things if I could gather for myself. I learned from Wrayle today, our kids are coming into our classrooms not only dealing with their own personal life situations, but the social framework in which they live those situations. So in Wrayle's case, she's a cheerleader, and she's having to not only deal with all the stuff in school, but also the social stereotypes that are thrown on her from all the media stuff. And so maybe one of the things that I've learned today is that next year with the cheerleaders in my class, that I can let them know it's okay to be who they are, and just encourage them in that way. And then also, as you heard from Wrayle again, that you'll probably hear again in the future, when they're the ones talking, they're the ones learning. And this was really confusing to me early on in my education, but and I'm still early on, right? But the reality is, the more we can learn about the tools to equip our kids in classroom to talk and to teach, the better off they're going to be. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Wrayle, thanks for joining me this morning.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And if you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe so that you get this information. Hit the notification bell so you see when new content comes out. And as always, and I'll probably share a link of Wrayle and I together with a You Matter shirt. You matter, and what you do matters. Thanks for joining us.